What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only Tesla stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to be talking about the overall market and why on earth we could see this affect Tesla as well, and some very big dates coming out for the future that will affect Tesla for next week. I'm also going to talk about why I believe Tesla is still set to see a pretty nice move very soon. We may even see Tesla break past 200 as well, maybe as soon as Monday or maybe by Wednesday. I believe it's very possible. I'm going to show you exactly why. Now, before I break anything down, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000. And the best part is any could be a free Tesla or Apple share. If you sign up, you're also going to have the chance to win $60,000. So please check it out. Offer ends in 2 weeks. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So anyways, looking at Tesla, this thing actually had a pretty decent day today, up 0.08%. I want to talk about why I think it was pretty decent and also how Tesla did to some degrees, to some small degree, outperform SPY and NASDAQ and many other big ETFs and stocks out there. Now, looking at the data, you guys can notice something very interesting in Tesla. If I show you guys the extended hours, notice how during pre-market, Tesla was holding up pretty well. And then not pre-market, the after hours yesterday, and then pre-market today, we saw Tesla just pushing up and up and up to about 197 almost. Then all of a sudden, we have this huge drop all the way down to 189 on Tesla. Then also on SPY, the same thing happened. SPY pushed up to about 407, then had this huge drop to about 400, which is where it got a really nice bounce. So let's start off with this. Why did SPY and Tesla and the NASDAQ all have this huge crash right before the market opened today? And the answer is the jobs numbers came out and they weren't necessarily horrible, but they weren't great either. The first thing is payrolls actually increased by 263,000 in November, not the best of signs. We're still seeing a relatively strong jobs market. Unemployment, however, was pretty steady at 3.7%, meeting expectations, and the participation rate actually fell to some degree. On top of that, however, the average hourly earnings rose 0.6%. It's up 5.1% year over year. So there is still strength in the jobs market. The stock market does not like this because this incentivizes the Fed to be more hawkish, especially as soon as December. Does this mean that they will give us 75 basis points? The answer is no. There's no guarantee of that yet. I don't really truly know if that will end up happening. But what I do want to say is there is some more uncertainty coming because of this. However, the good thing was the fact that the overall unemployment rate did meet expectations. So overall, the data wasn't necessarily horrible. It was just kind of decent, in my opinion, with a little bit of some concerning things as well. But I want to talk about now why on earth, the market did come down pretty hard. However, the big drop did not stop us. In this market, we continue to see a lot of buyers step in. The bulls had the edge. If you look at SPY, we had a very nice amount of growth as the day went on, and this thing slowly pushed up to fill its gap. Then it came down and closed a little bit in the red, but overall, very strong trend, in my opinion. But the thing is, even though we are pushing up the way we are, we do have some very strong resistance that's slowing us down, and that's around this supply zone between this 407 to 410 zone. This is some very strong resistance, and I'm not sure if SPY's actually going to break this. We might just chop around back and forth for quite a while and maybe become very boring. But if we do break past 410 and we actually hold above it and we start to consolidate above it and we start pushing up, this thing could go to 420. I just think it's a little bit less likely now considering how we're struggling so far to do so. So for that reason, I do believe that there is going to be some more sideways action coming up in the market. However, there is still a good chance that Tesla could outperform SPY and many other big ETFs out there. If you look at Tesla right now, we're seeing another increase in the price pairs ratio. This is once again a bullish signal. And we are actually seeing that Tesla is still very undervalued compared to SPY overall. When compared to the QQQ, however, we can see a very different story. They are very similar right now in terms of their valuations, and we are seeing Tesla outperforming it to some degree as well. So that's a very good sign for Tesla investors. We're seeing some nice buying pressure around these zones. We're seeing lots of volume still coming in. Once again, another good sign. And historically, Tesla tends to be green about 53% of the time on Mondays. We tend to slow down a little bit by Tuesday, but then Wednesdays tend to be stronger too. So I'm hoping for some pretty decent price action. Now, what else I wanted to mention was the short interest. This has been downtrending, like I mentioned. I hope this continues to downtrend as shorts unload on their positions. And finally, that would be a very, very good sign. Looking at SPY, however, I'm seeing something else that's very, very interesting. Notice the put to call ratio. You will see that for the next upcoming trading days, we're seeing a relatively high put to call ratio again. A lot of these puts are still out there, and especially for December 7th. This is incentivizing the market makers to keep the market afloat. And it's very important to remember this. Does this always mean that the market is just going to hold up forever? The answer is no, but this tends to happen, right? We tend to see the market hold up when too many people are over leveraged on the put side. For Tesla, the volume actually slowed down a bit for a Friday, completely normal, but we managed to close kind of green, so that's pretty nice to hear. And then finally, looking at the shorts volume percentage, it's pretty flat right now, but right now it's only like 47%. That's a sign that the long positions, the people going long, buying calls, pushing it up, have the edge over the stock. Once again, another pretty decent sign. Now, what I'm seeing on SPY is this thing might get slowed down if it pushes up, but I do believe it's going to retest 410 very soon. And for the QQQ, very similar story. This thing did not actually fully fill its gap. I don't think it did. It almost did, but it didn't. And it has more room to push up a little bit more than SPY, in my opinion. We could see it retest this like 294 to 295 level. And if that's the case, it could be dragged up because of Tesla and Apple, which is once again a good sign that they could start pushing up. Apple was also not doing the best today, but I do expect Apple, or I think it's very likely that Apple pushes up more because we haven't fully filled this gap and we got some nice volume, especially near the end of the day. Apple could quite easily go all the way up to 148 to 149, and that could also help the QQQ. Now, finally, as far as let me find my dollar index chart, this thing actually went lower than expected, but it's starting to base around this 104 level. So I do expect it to trade kind of sideways like it has in the past, maybe bounce a little here and there, but it's going to be a little bit boring. And this is still a pretty decent sign for the markets. That's why I do expect more chop, at least for the next couple of days. But I do believe some tech sectors out there could do a little bit better. For the VIX, finally, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about before I get into Tesla. For the VIX, this is in a very, very interesting state. It's actually a little bit dangerous for the bulls in a way because right here, you'll notice that once we hit this like 18 to 19 zone, we tend to see big bounces. And as of right now, we're not seeing it. So what I'm thinking is the VIX might trade kind of sideways around here, leading to more chop in the markets. And it might bounce either within the next couple of weeks unless we get another major Santa rally continuation because of CPI, then it could come down more. But until then, there's uncertainty. So I do anticipate the VIX to kind of like base around here and trade kind of sideways. And the market may see some more sideways action because of that. Now, despite all of this, all right, I do believe this may cause Tesla to trade a little bit sideways, but Tesla has been outperforming the market to some degree over the last couple of weeks. So I believe that Tesla is likely going to continue to push to the upside and see some very, very good signs. And I say this because of the fact that, first off, this whole thing is looking like an accumulation like setup. And in my opinion, if this is what is going on, as we are seeing more buying pressure perpetuate, we could quite easily see this thing continue to push and finally break the $200 resistance. Now, what I'm going to be watching for on Tesla, though, is how does this thing actually react to 200? I do believe buyers want it to get there and they will have the edge in doing so. And what's good about it is this whole thing is kind of looking like it's kind of flagging. It's not really quite clear, but it is almost looking like it is. And it's going to see the next leg up relatively soon. On top of that, Tesla has a very bullish looking setup, seeing this overall uptrend that's being respected. It's making those higher highs and higher lows consistently. So it's looking pretty good. And if we look at the RSI and other technical indicators, we could quite easily see that Tesla, of all things, is actually pushing to the upside. And we are seeing some bullish divergence on the RSI. Once again, looks pretty nice in my overall opinion. MACD is still a little bit sideways. It still is opening up a bit. So this is actually a pretty nice uptrend that we're seeing. I also apologize about these lines. Let me just hide them for you guys. And as far as the EMAs go, you can actually use the 5 minute on this. I don't think they're really showing us too much as of right now. We did actually get a golden cross for a very short time frame, and I do anticipate that it might open up a little bit if this thing sees more volume to the upside, especially as we see a big expansion in the volume. So overall, guys, to me, this is suggesting that Tesla is going to see some sideways action, but because of this divergence we're seeing on the RSI, it has potential to push up even more thanks to that. So in my opinion, I expect some more sideways action with somewhat of an upthrust going to next week. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing breaks past 200 quite quickly. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen immediately or if it's going to take a couple of days, but overall, I am still aiming for that. Now, finally, I wanted to mention a couple of things about the big event from yesterday. I'm actually going to make a full video about this a little bit later, but I just wanted to say a couple of quick things. I was impressed by what Tesla just unveiled with this new semi truck. In my opinion, what's amazing about it is the fact that there's so many new features that you don't typically see in conventional semis, such as the fact that a person such as Elon Musk, I mean, he's a pretty tall guy, he's like 6'1" or 6'2" or whatever. He was able to actually stand inside of it, like stand on 2 feet, which is something you don't typically see. You could charge your phone wirelessly with it. There's a very nice user interface with the screen. They're all fully electric. They have a lot of power, lots of acceleration. Their battery pack could actually be charged relatively quickly, and that was actually very unexpected for lots of investors and lots of people out there because of the new supercharger that was developed by Tesla. It's very cool in my opinion. I'm going to make another video about this very soon. I wanted to break down why I consider this a huge leap into the future, because this can make Tesla billions and billions of dollars again. And I really believe that this company is in the right direction. Now, Tesla does not always give us their promises immediately. All right. But at the end of the day, they will deliver. That's one thing I believe in this company. They will deliver. They're going to give us the Cybertruck. We're going to get the Roadster. We're going to see humanoid robots. We're going to see FSD. We have so many things coming. They will deliver. I'm super bullish, and that's essentially what I have for this video. So this is more of like a long-term aspect of Tesla. I'm very bullish long-term. For the short term, I believe we're going to see some sideways action and a clean break above 200. If we break 200, we could see 205 to 210 pretty quickly. But first, we got to see a nice break and hold above 200. I believe it should happen by Wednesday of next week, depending on the overall market. I also believe that Tesla should outperform SPY and maybe drag up the QQQ even more. And that could be, once again, another very good sign for Tesla investors. But anyways, guys, that's essentially what I have for this video. Thank you all so much for listening. Please enjoy your weekend. Remain calm, cool, and collected. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Tesla to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.